Okay. Collar straight. Well, we're starting to get people showing up and logging in and watching, but not quite time yet. But thanks for popping in. But basically, if you can log into our Facebook group and you can see it through here, or you can go to this KSLib address, or later on you can just watch the whole thing from the Tech Talks link down at the bottom. So we've got several different ways you can go about watching the presentations, live through here or just watching them later. All of the previous presentations are all there at the kslib.info. And the state library saves them for us and broadcasts them from there. So that's how we go about letting small libraries that don't necessarily have a tech person on staff be able to broadcast and interact. So they can log into the KSLib and then they can ask me questions this way and that, or they can just watch the presentation somebody else does from Facebook. There we go. Good job. Hey, Ron, I can see you. I got some people really logging in here. Go ahead and log yourself or mute yourselves. And
to have to do that, but really.
Is it time? Is it time? Yeah, okay, it's time. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So basically, this is about entertainment, right? So if you're thinking about cutting the cable TV cord, a lot of us still use cable just for internet, but you can use it for television as well. And this is about your options as far as if you choose to get rid of using cable TV or satellite TV, or if you just have an antenna stuck out in the yard, 16 foot in the air. And that's a great option too. And we'll talk a bit about that too. So that's what this presentation is about. It's a bit of fun. Views and opinions are my own, not necessarily the library. Please come to me if you have any questions or disagreements. So there's some boilerplate statements I like to start out with whenever I do these presentations. I like to say, please, please still come to your library. We are open-ish, right? So during COVID, we're still winding down to where you can, we can't go into the stacks and touch things. Anything you touch has to go into quarantine for 3 days. But you can still go to our webpage, put things on hold, and ask for librarians to go to the shelf and get things for you. And you can check things out still. So movies, books, audiobooks, the works, we still have it. We've got robust content, which means we've got more than just what you'll find on Google searches. We pay for subscriptions to different databases that you might not necessarily have hold of. And we've got humans you can talk to, usually within walking distance. So reasons you'd want to, okay, so before you start signing up for these services and giving out your email addresses, First of all, I would recommend having several different email addresses, one for work, one for home, one for signing up for free hot tubs at the state fair. And also that last one you can use for signing up for online services, as far as like TV services. A computer should always have the most recent updates going on for it, right? You got your Windows updates, you got your spamware updates, your firewall updates, spyware updates. Please update them all before you go out and really do much of anything on the internet. It's 5 minutes of your time, and it's worth every second of it compared to having to go through and tell your employer that you're not looking for unemployment. So what is cutting the cord, right? The act of canceling your cable or satellite subscription in favor of a more affordable television viewing option. This can come from many forms, Hulu, Netflix. They could save you some money. Ka-ching, happiness, see also. So cable is really the big dog, right? Because they spent the money early on to run cable through all of our cities, out in the counties. It's the immediate and most obvious answer. It's reliable because when you're having a giant storm, your satellite dish isn't going to have reception, right? Because it's going to be blocked from satellites. But the cable TV still runs old reliable. So the prices, though, they've been increasing, even though they haven't been expanding their people group very much lately because they've got all the cables run. So a lot of people have decided to take it upon themselves to check out other options. So I tried to contact Cox Cable, and it took them forever. But they did finally reply, and they told us about their diversity and how they're, you know, got all sorts of services, 6 million residences and businesses. So here's a Consumer Reports link if you want to check it out later. Oh, yeah, about the way that I do these presentations. Some people recommend doing a PowerPoint by just putting a picture of a pair of scissors and then talking for 15 minutes and then putting a picture of a kitten and then keeping on talking. My patrons like to go back and they like to go through and check my links and say, you know, I kind of think he talked about something on this old presentation. So they'll go back and they'll click on the link. And so that's what I want to do for you. I want to give you all the information right out. So sometimes I'm reading straight from the slides, which they tell you not to do because people lose interest. I don't care because it's information that I want you to know. I want you to be able to go back and check it. And click on that link later on if you want to read the Consumer Reports where they're talking about if cutting the cord is right for you. So first thing I want to talk about is over the airwave broadcast TV, right? It's been around since before I was a kid, and the FCC governs it, and they got a map of channels that you can go to the website, put in your zip code, and it'll tell you what channels you might be able to receive in that area based on kind of a radius. Most of ours are going to be from Wichita. So if you're going to put a antenna in your window, you want to put it facing Wichita, maybe Hutch, right? But when you're shopping around for antennas, try and find the ones that are amplified. Like the one in the picture, that just goes right into the TV, right? There's no extra electricity going to it. The amplified ones get a little bit more oomph, and it's helpful. A lot of the best antennas now are flat, but so broadcast television, basically they've got a transmitter going from a mobile control unit where they're broadcasting it from, and you've got the giant tower way up high, and it's broadcasting a bubble of signal, so you can go and try and receive it if you're inside that bubble. 15 to 40 mile range usually. You've got the digital and you've got the analog. They've gotten rid of the analog, so if you have the old antenna, it might not work for anymore because they've got the digital signals. So hopefully you got the new TV. Well, when I say new, I mean a TV made in the last 10 years. Digital antenna over the versus the over the air antenna. So basically all of them are going to be digital now at this point, but we've got a lot of choices with the Moohoo Leaf and the Clear TV. ones that kind of plug directly into the TV versus the power as well. There's a little video there if you want to click on it later on. Ooh, I seem to be missing some things. Okay. Well, this is where I was going to show you a bunch of options as far as antennas go, some recommended ones, but most of them now are they're amplified, and they're usually the flat ones you kind of stick to the window instead of the ones you set on the set top with the rabbit ears. They don't usually look like that anymore. The ones that are digital and modern. Okay. So there are some options as far as watching local channels or just broadcast TV over the internet. There's Sling and there's Philo. Sling, you got your $35 a month, blue and the orange. Some are more sportsy, some are more newsy. So you got some options there for $35 a month to get things like Fox News, HGTV, AMC, ESPN, the classic channels you normally pay for from cable, you can get online. And so one benefit is that there's it's a subscription. It's not a contract, so you don't have to pay a year in advance for. Oh, I'm missing my Philo stuff too. So this is Philo, and they've got all these channels for $20 a month. And they've got extra packages. Let's see if this needs to scroll away here. Epics and Stars, pay extra for. Good old Netflix. Netflix really is the big dog on the block as far as entertainment that you pay for online. They've got really good compression. They've got a lot of programs, and you can change the fonts and the backgrounds and things like that. They've been around since back when Blockbuster was sending out DVDs through the mail. Netflix was doing the same thing, and I remember subscribing to that one, or at least getting the free trial for a couple months here and there, and canceling it and starting back up again. What is Netflix? It's a streaming service that allows a wide variety of award-winning TV shows, movies, anime documents, and more on thousands of internet-connected devices. So basically, your cell phone, your watch, your TV, your laptop, most things can watch. Costs $8.99 to $17.99 a month, and you can subscribe to extra channels and things like that. No extra costs, no contracts. So basically, if you watch 1,000 hours of Netflix, it's not going to cost you more than just watching an hour a month. Here's a little quiz you can take to learn more about what kind of shows you could watch based on, or where you should live based on what you watch on Netflix. It's kind of old, but it's pretty funny. Basically started around 1997 when the CEO was charged $40 for a late copy on VHS of Apollo 13. He just got so frustrated he was going to start his own company. It's been around longer than Google. Netflix was in 97 and Google was 1998, though not older than Yahoo. In 2000, Netflix was offered a Blockbuster for $50 million. So good old Blockbuster could have been, as bigger than Netflix is now if they would have taken the offer and bought Netflix early in the career, but they lost out big time. An alternative to Netflix is Hulu. You've got thousands of movies and everything, $5.99 a month, and these will be like, so you're watching Walking Dead, and it comes out several days later, and so where you can watch TV shows. It's more about TV shows than anything else, I think, is what I do with it. You want to make sure that you get that window. So if you miss 8 weeks of the show, then you might not be able to get that last week, but you can catch up. But so Hulu's a nice one. There's kind of a comparison there about what seasons Hulu and Hulu Plus and Netflix have. So here are the different platforms of Hulu. You got Hulu ad-free Hulu, and Hulu Plus TV. So Hulu Plus TV is an interesting beast. So it's $65 a month, with may or may not be more than you're paying now for your cable TV. Um, Plus, it's just the TV part; it's not the internet as well. Um, but it does have a lot of channels for $64.99. Um, Maybe you live in an apartment building where your internet is free. I don't know, but for us, my home, we get the $5.99 a month thing with the we got watch the commercials. They give us some commercials. It's pretty annoying, but because it's usually like the same three commercials, just day in day out. But let's see, you've got up to 6 user profiles, so I can have one for the kids, one for the wife, one for me. I, one for the neighbor, one for the in-laws, stuff like that. But you're not supposed to share your password with other people. But I gotta say, I think most people probably do. If you get the $11.99, you can go ahead and download and watch movies. Get one of the streaming boxes that we'll talk about later. Um, Amazon Prime is a great option because if you buy Prime for like the $100 a month, $100 a year, you get the free shipping, you get all sorts of eligible things besides just the movies and TV. So if you're paying for Prime, you might as well watch the shows, right? Because you're already paying for it. Let's do. You can buy movies through Amazon Prime and you own them, just not in any physical form. You're allowed to have up to two copies. You can download them at any time. It's an interesting thing buying movies through Amazon Prime instead of just Amazon DVDs. Those captions are still available in some instant videos. We always have the closed captioning on, just because I've got daughters and everybody likes to talk while we're watching shows, so I can let them talk and I can still pay attention to what I'm trying to pay attention to. So who is the biggest after all of all these ones that I was talking about? Netflix is most definitely the biggest as far as the paid streaming services. 53 million subscribers worldwide, 38 million in the US. I'm sorry, yeah, including 3 million in the US. Amazon is the second with 24 million Prime subscribers using its video service compared to Hulu's 6 million paid subscribers, according to this Forrester research. That said, cable is still punching it at 68.5 million total subscribers. So, there's definitely something to be said for cable at this point. They're still in the game. They're not done. Basically, how Netflix, Prime, Hulu compared to the new Disney Plus and HBO Max. This is a great article by Business Insider. So they're saying 83 million subscribers, and this is a 2020 article. So they're talking about Netflix is definitely a champion, but Amazon Prime has the most content they're talking about. Netflix and Hulu come out on top with the highest quality based on IMDb scores. If you trust their scores, could be worse. Prime Video has the biggest selection of both TVs and movies, and leads the way in high quality movies, which Real Good defines as. So Real Good is another one of the things that are rating these shows and everything. So that's one to look into if you're looking to verify, how quality a movie is the Real Good. Here we look at the cost of the monthly subscription of these different ones, where HBO Max is the most, but for some people, it's kind of what they watch. They are addicted to certain series that HBO is putting out, and HBO has really been putting out some high cost product lately, some high quality movies and TV. Anyway, so then next up we've got the Netflix, and goes on down to Apple TV at $4.99 a month, but the cost versus the value is not really there for the Apple. Also, if you've ever watched any of these presentations I've ever given, I'm still kind of grumpy at Apple for leaving Kansas. They've got one place, and that's up in Missouri, like several blocks away from the edge of Kansas. So I think, I'm not a big fan of Apple because they're not a big fan of us. So let's talk about movies available on streaming services. Prime Video. I mean, they've got the highest quality. Total is the highest. This is just kind of blows everybody out of the water here over here with Amazon Prime, which is one of the cheapest services because it's $100 I would have spent anyway just for the free shipping that I get throughout the year, especially on Christmas. Sometimes $100 is kind of paid for by the free shipping at Christmas time. So here's the numbers for the number of high quality movies. So this is movies, this isn't TV. And here's the TVs. So episodes and everything else. So again, Amazon Prime way high. Next up, Netflix and Hulu. And this is the TV series quality of TV shows. So in the end, Prime has the most bang for the buck. Then there's Netflix and Hulu. If you're addicted to HBO Max, I talked to my wife, and as soon as my girls, leave us to go off to college here next year, the second one leaves, then we'll probably be signing up for HBO Max. But until then, it's the Disney Plus for us, which is great because we watch a lot of Marvel movies. We watch a lot of Star Wars and Pixar right now with the girls in the house, and so that's where we spend our money. So here's another one about from PC Mag 2020. So you got other options, right? This one is specialized. Crunchyroll is for anime and drama. You got access to anime and manga 24/7. Some of them don't have any ads. We've got the fan, the mega fan, and the ultimate fan levels. So sometimes there's just anime and manga you just can't find anywhere else except for Crunchyroll. And they've got Aniplex and a lot of the classic kind of stuff that's interesting. A lot of people really like it. And for $9.99 for new episodes 1 hour after Japan releases them, that's pretty great. And otherwise, you're waiting quite a while. Google Play. Google Play has movies. Most of these are rentals or you buy them. It's not a per month kind of a thing, but they do have some really good deals here and there. Like especially if you've got a movie in your head and you can't find it anywhere else. Sometimes check out Google Play and you might pay $2-3 and be able to rent it. Instead of, it used to be we'd go out to a video store, right? Media streamer boxes, right? So this is a box that you load up and install in your house, and this is where you where the internet goes into and then into your TV. So Roku and Amazon Fire Stick and things like that. That's what we're talking about with media streamer boxes. So you want to make sure you have good, strong Wi-Fi, or even better, run some Ethernet into that box because it's going to be more secure and faster. Chromecast is by Google, and so you can still log into your YouTube and HBO Plus and Hulu Plus and everything else, and then it goes from one device to the other. Is basically the way that one goes. Chromecast. When I tried Chromecast 4 years ago, I wasn't a huge fan. It kind of got glitchy on me. Other people have had much better luck with it, but in the age of Zoom, I think it'd be a lot of fun to try it again when you're trying to do any sort of meetings in the house. Put it up on the TV. That'd be pretty fun. So that is Chromecast. Oh, I guess somebody else wanted to. So here are the different generations of the Chromecast you got going on from 2013 to 2020. You got more RAM, faster bit per minute, higher quality video. That's kind of just the way that they're going with the So if I was to, because I said it's been a few years since I tried it. If I try the newer one, it's $49.99. So it's, doing pretty good on price across the board. It's worth trying, right? Roku is another option to where it's a kind of a little box you plug into your internet. You can get your Plex, and we'll talk more about Plex in a bit. And you can log into all your Hulu and on online services through it. This is kind of what one of the boxes look like. You got your 110, you got your power, your HDMI goes to your TV, micro SD if you want to store things on the card. You can watch a few things through on a micro SD. You got Ethernet, and you got your USB. So if you want to have a keyboard or a mouse or something like that. So it's not web TV. That's what I was thinking. Back in the dial-up days, I had a buddy that had a web TV. He'd plug into his telephone, plug it into his TV. It would make the squeaky, squawky noise, and he'd be able to surf the web on his big TV. Well, big for the day at least. And so Roku was introduced in 2008. Small form factor. Here's Apple TV has their hand in here too, because they've got their own little set-top box you can buy. And so basically, if you invested money in iTunes in your music catalog and you want to be able to watch it through the TV, this is one way to go about doing it. Since you spend all that money buying all those songs, might as well watch it through your TV. So there's a CNET article. So basically, when you start doing all this sort of stuff, spend some time Googling around, because my perspective is not the only perspective. It's not necessarily the best perspective. This is not what I do for a full-time living, but I've gone through and I've found other people that do this for a full-time living. That's where I'm pulling a lot of this from. So Plex, I tried Plex for a bit, where you install the operating system on you make your own, basically a server there at your house, and you store all your movies and music and pictures and everything to it. And then you can watch it through your phone and online and through your TV and everything else. Very, very smooth stuff. It's quite clever, especially if you've already invested in a lot of digital content. So kind of picture gives you the idea. So somewhere you store it on the Drobo in 5N. Drobo 5N was kind of just if you wanted to buy their server box. And anything could be a server. If you have an old desktop computer, you can make it into a Plex server. But of course, more RAM, faster computer you use, the faster it's going to be viewable, and then the higher quality it's going to be viewable. So you can stream, log into a Plex app on your Xbox, on your phones and TVs and everything else. So here is the Plex webpage. They're talking about why would you use Plex. It brings together all the media that matters to you. Your personal collection will look beautiful alongside the streaming content that they've made accessible to you through the operating. It's basically an operating system. Finally possible to enjoy all the media you enjoy all on one device, no matter where you are, no matter what device you use. So they've got streaming services. They've got live TV, 130 channels. They've got 20,000 on-demand movies. Then there's your media that you download, and you can go premium. You can buy a lifetime subscription and everything else through there. Kodi is another option as opposed to Plex, to where you can install it on a device, and I had it for a while on my Amazon Fire Stick, and to where I could watch all sorts of media through my Amazon Fire Stick, which was a lot of fun until the regulars came in. They started hacking down on the Kodi channels that I had available to me. So it's kind of a comparison here, Plex versus Kodi, to where you'd have a centralized server versus a client-based sharing basis servers. So there we go. This is the presentation. We're going up pretty quick on the end of the presentation. We've got a lot of people here. We can go through and unmute if you wanted to ask questions. Remember to like our Facebook page and email us any questions or call us. Now's the time to ask your questions if you wanted to. I'm really glad we have 8 participants in here. That's just on the Zoom meeting. Let's have a look and see how many people we've got in on the Facebook Live. Pretty good number of people interested in this thing. I'm surprised we don't have anybody asking any questions. There's still just 8 that are still watching the Facebook Live as well.
Nathan, how many, or not how many, how new does a TV need to be to function on what all you've been talking about here?
Most of these, like the set-top boxes with the Amazon Fire Stick or the Chromecast, most of these will work with TVs that have HDMI ports. So basically anything made in the last 10 years or so. If you're really, if you got a TV over 10 years old, the prices on TVs have gone down so much. I had a buddy that gave me a TV for Christmas. I mean, it's just the price has gone down a lot lately. It might be time to think about replacing it if you don't have if you have an old one. That said, I mean, those tube TVs, those 35 inches, like the one I got for my wedding 16 years ago, it still works. It looks great. It doesn't work with HDMI. It just has the old basic coax and pre RCA adapters. So yeah. Does that answer? You have a newer TV or older TV?
I think it's newer than what you said.
About a decade? Yeah. So hopefully if you look on the back, it has an HDMI port. Let's see if I can show you. On the Roku had a HDMI port that was kind of zoomed in. Yeah, there you go. If you have a cable that kind of looks like that, it's kind of a flattish cable. It looks like a larger version of a USB cable.
Yes, it's got that. It's got that.
You should be good. Yeah. So that's how the Roku connects up to your TV.
And then
And
where does this Fire Stick, what role does that play? Talk about
the
that a
Amazon
minute.
Fire Stick, yeah, it looks like a thumb drive, right? Let's see if I've got one. So it looks very similar to this, only slightly bigger because on the end, instead of metal, it's got the HDMI port. It just plugs right there into your HDMI port on your TV, and then it's got a port for power, and it's got a port that goes to no, just power, because it connects Wi-Fi. It doesn't connect with Ethernet, which I would prefer mine to connect with Ethernet instead of having one more device on Wi-Fi. But it's working pretty good. I'm on my second one now, so I like it.
And what's the purpose of the Fire Stick? Why do you need that?
It's so that it's so that I can log into my Netflix and Hulu and everything else, and my Amazon Prime, so I can watch all those things through the Fire Stick. Some TVs are smart enough so you can log into those accounts through the TV, but some of them just aren't. And a lot of Blu-ray players are smart enough so you can log into your Netflix account through your Blu-ray player.
Well, I may not need that then, because on my TV I can go straight into Netflix, or, well, assuming I pay the subscription fee.
Right.
I
Yep.
can get straight into Hulu, and I don't know, there are about 6 or 8 different things I can go straight into it.
Yeah. Sometimes though they lock it down. So like say maybe your smart TV can't go into Amazon Prime. Maybe that's a problem. So that's maybe why you buy an Amazon Fire Stick. But if your TV connects to Ethernet as well, it might be faster than Amazon Fire Stick. Well, anybody else have any questions for me? Well, Ron, since I got you here, do you have any online subscriptions that you like better than others?
The only one I've got is Netflix, and I've been pretty happy with that.
Yeah, there's some fun stuff coming out on Netflix. Yeah. Well,
For
all
for
right.
those of us in Newton, where do you get internet if you don't go through Cox? Is there any good place to get a good enough internet to actually run a streaming service?
That's a very good question. I would say check with your phone company, look for DSL, and see if you're close enough to one of the DSL stations, because they're more like spokes on a hub. Because if you get far enough away, then the signal gets weaker and it's not reliable enough. It's just like Cox as well. If you are far enough away from the broadcast station, then you're going to have poor signal. So you can check into DSL. Satellite internet is still unreliable because anytime there's cloud cover, then the signal's not going to make it through necessarily, and it's more expensive than you're going to find from DSL or cable internet. You might want to check with your cell phone provider, because for a number of years I lived out in the country and I just connected up to Sprint and got a hotspot and broadcasted that out to my TV as far as how I got internet to the house. Here at the public library, you can check out a MiFi from Sprint for a week at a time and get internet at your house that way. But the hold line is quite long to get one of those MiFi units, and then you have to turn it in after a week. So downside. As of right now, I don't believe that there's any free Wi-Fi spots by the city, but there's plenty of places in town where you can go to log into, like Sonic. You can go there and log into their Wi-Fi for free. There's coffee shops, things like that. All right. Well,
On
going once.
Lisa's question, besides Cox, would AT&T be an option?
AT&T would be the DSL option, yeah. And that's just internet over the telephone lines. As of right now, I don't believe we have any fiber optic options here in Newton. A lot of the smaller towns around us do, though. Crazy fast internet, but not here in Newton. In fact, DSL is how we do our telephone system here at the library, so that we don't have to pay for long distance calls. Not that we do a lot of long distance calls, but we do have patrons out of the city. All right. Well, in that case, I'm going to go ahead and call it. Thank you very much for logging in. And if you have any further questions, please feel free, email me and we'll discuss, or come on by. Every Tuesday, 3 to 5 is our general question answer time. And I'll be doing another tech class like this next month. And as always, you can always
Nathan,
check
this
out the website.
program will be available when?
Yeah, in just a few days, it'll be available on the state library's website here at this KSLib link. Digital literacy tech talks, so you can watch it again and again and again. Might even be able to download. I've never actually tried that, but I don't know what good that would do you. But yeah. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and call it. Have a nice night.
Thank you.